The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tokucast Reviews, episode number 185. Today, Marcus and Jacob here to review the movies. The Geats Movies. Specifically 4 races, Geats, Gotchard, and Jyamato Awakening. Beginning with 4 races, the Black Fox. Well, talk about tonal inconsistency between the show and the movie that it is based on.
Also, if you're wondering why we're not doing the Geats revised movie, I don't want to watch anything with a known racist in it. So there's that. Yeah, the Black Fox. Jesus Christ. I was just so, almost immediately, I was so done with this movie.
Because we open in media res, it's a big action scene, all of our heroes are there. I was trying to figure out when this took place, and it's like, this is after Geats gets his final form.
Yes.
This is after Tycoon gets his final form.
Because the Black Geats does show up in the show for a scene.
I don't even remember that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, he showed up at the end of an episode.
It has that in common with the Gotchard movie, too. There was a character that showed up in the end of an episode, and then, oh, here they are. They're part of this movie.
This movie is like the complete opposite in terms of tone from the show, and I think that I'm just like, I can't reconcile that in my head.
Yeah, it feels like this was an excuse for the actors to flex their comedic chops.
Yeah.
As a result, everyone feels like completely different characters.
They do feel real OOC out here. They feel real out of character. And I don't like any of this movie.
Here's the thing. The movie still made me laugh. I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's a bad movie. But some of the comedy still kind of worked. I think because they are talented actors, I think that definitely helps.
It's also good to see Lupin Yellow's actress back again.
Oh, does she play the Mellow?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we always like seeing actors come back. Didn't know that was her. I think the villains of this movie are stupid. Ridiculously powerful guy from future is like, I will destroy everything. Let me split this into 4 dimensions. Geats gets caught in the epicenter, splitting his personality, splitting like his body into 4 parts, 4 aspects of his personality: his strength, his intelligence, his luck, and his protagonistism. They don't really get into what the 4th one is. It's like, it's the fact that he is Geats is the 4th one. It's like protagonist of Toku show is the 4th one. So seeing Geats' actor play those different aspects, I think he does a good job with it. But you know what I'm reminded the most of when I was watching all 3 of these?
That you hated Gotchard?
No, it was more so the old Prosy Divine or sketch where he was talking about just like various arcs in anime, and then he gets to the anime movie, and it's like, Tomoko-chan, we must go in to stop the Ice Dragon from doing a thing. Bitch, none of this is canon. Nobody cares. Go see Tomoko-chan in the Kingdom of the Ice Dragon in theaters now. It's like, none of this is canon. None of this matters. Nothing nobody cares. I don't care about any of this. That's what I was thinking of.
It apparently takes place after the final episode of the final stage. Which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because he's not God.
Yeah, he's not God yet. And also, I read the Wikipedia entry for some of the characters, because like Punk Jack shows up, Lobo shows up. It was nice to see them come back. But like,
AKA the female character who should have been there the entire goddamn show. I will die on that hill. I loved her character, and we weren't even with her for that long. But she was peak.
She's good in this one too. But I just love reading the Wikipedia, and it's just like, at some point she was resurrected and her memories were restored. And it's just the same thing about the other
That's
guy.
pretty much the entirety of this entire movie. At some point.
How did they come back? I don't know. What are you talking about? Hang this lampshade over there.
Hand wave. Ooh, you can't see it. I wish I didn't.
So yeah, that movie is dumb. It is bad, but it still made me laugh.
Moving on to Geats Gotchard.
But yeah,
no, because actually Gotchard shows up for the first time in the Geats movie.
Yeah, because he's like in one of the vehicle forms.
Yeah,
and he starts beating an old man up.
Pirate.
He beats up the owl man, and then it's like, oh, why are you beating me up? There's just no way to treat your elders. Aren't you a bad guy? No. Okay, well then I'll beat these guys up. Punch, punch, punch. And then that happens, and Gotchard shows up, and who cares? We got Gotchard anyway.
Yeah, in the Geats Gotchard movie, a.k.a. there's no point to this.
Okay, I'm going to say something that I don't know that we've ever touched on in Tokucast before, but I will say, if you plan on watching the Geats Gotchard warning, let me begin my review with this. Massive trigger warning for animals dying. Are we good? Just letting you know. Getting that out of the way first. The opening of this movie is a dog dying, and that pretty much sets the tone.
Yeah, just awful all the way through.
It was genuinely upsetting the way this happens. It opens in just that shot on the headlight of the car. It's dark. It's raining. You see the dog. You see its eyes shut as someone is cradling it and crying. There's like no sound except for the rain. And it cuts to them like looking at like an empty doghouse at night in the rain. And it's genuinely very upsetting. I was like, okay, this is how we're opening the movie? Okay, alright, where are you gonna go with this? And I'll admit, where they go with it, I think kind of works. The idea that it's, because like the plot of this movie has like, it's like 3 episodes combined, or like 2 episodes, one half an hour, one 1 hour.
Yeah, and man, does it really mess up itself in its own pacing. The whole thing with Wizard.
Who showed up at the end of the
first part.
I think it was the end of the first part of Gotchard. You see him at like the end of an episode, and he's just like there in the background. Like
it's episode 4, yeah.
Like peeking behind a tree. And you see him there, and then he never shows up in the show again. And I remember
he shows up again near the end.
I don't remember him being there at all.
When a lot of the Kimmies end up getting like brought out, Wizard shows up again.
Oh,
but yeah, in this movie, in the Geats Gotchard movie, why?
So the first part is 3 of the characters from Geats are turned into Kemmies.
After they have like this big fight in this mall.
They have a big fight in like an abandoned like mall place, which is kind of a cool location.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool location to see, but they have a big fight there.
The state of malls in the year 2024.
But then there's that, and then they get turned into Kemmies. They all get like banished to like the 4 corners of the earth, whatever locations they could afford. And then it's like, now you have to go find a Kemmy to turn the Geats character back into a human.
The level X Kemmies.
Yes. And then, what is it? Geats, he gets spared from this, and like a little fox shows up next to him. And I really like the design of the fox. I think it's a cute design. And then it turns out that fox, the big like reveal is like that fox is actually his dog. That's the dog that we saw die at the beginning. And it's like, and the dog like starts talking after making anime noises for its entire screen time. It's like the I stay in the ball for you moment from the Pokemon movie. And all of a sudden the dog goes on like a lengthy monologue of like, yes, I was there, master, I was watching you from the shadows all this time from the great beyond. I long to be with you again, master, and now I can. And now we have granted my purpose, and la 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 la. Yes.
I don't give a single fuck about this movie. This movie was awful.
Oy vey.
It's so bad. It's like, it meanders.
It does.
A lot of it.
It is the longest of the 3. It's an hour and a half, and it feels an hour and a half too long.
And this is the issue with some crossovers like this that you don't get from every other one. Like, I still remember some of my favorite parts, like the Drive Ghost one, because it was just one long movie. And I love their slower interactions and things.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with this is, per usual, it's the Gotchard cast.
And they take up most of the focus.
Which is a problem. They're not good in
because
this.
Gotchard and Wizard are a big chunk of the plot. It's like Gotchard and Wizard, and then like the other third of it is Geats and Kon, the little fox.
And then we also end up getting Majade in this movie. This is where she makes her debut because this movie is canon to both.
You say that? I don't like. I watched Gotchard. I know I did. And this form debuting in this movie, it feels so superfluous. I feel like it debuted proper in show.
Oh, that's because it does. But they bring up the point that, she's transformed before, but for some reason she doesn't have the power to do it again.
I don't remember that dialogue exchange at all.
That happened.
Because in the show, it's treated like this is the first time she has ever transformed. No, because
they mention it. It's like, she's transformed before, but she can't for various reasons.
I feel like when they say that, I feel like they were talking about her prior form, not the new one.
No, they were talking about this movie. Because the movie's canon.
Well, I don't accept it as canon.
I'm sorry. It's the truth.
None of this is canon. Nobody cares.
You're right. This movie is not great. It's frustrating to watch. And, I mean, your feelings on Gotchard aside, it's just like, it's not paceful, and the Gotchard cast isn't shown in a good light. And the Geats cast are sort of shown as an afterthought. Because these casts don't really mesh together in this writing.
That, and just like the gulf of power between some of these movie villains and our heroes' final forms that they have at the end. Some nonsense with like Geats meeting his future self.
Which sort of makes sense. He's immortal at the end of the show.
Yeah, but it's still dumb.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
I didn't think it was done well.
I really think the other big issue of this, and this it's not really a fault of Geats proper, but it's a fault of how that show ends. Geats is a god. Why are we here?
I don't have an answer. I'm no theologian. I don't have an answer.
This is sort of the issue when you have characters like Kabuto and Decade and Zio
or Gaim
show up again. Their characters are powerful as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like any threat that you end up having in those movies is unnecessary. Like, I can sort of see 01 coming back and doing a versus movie because he's not all powerful at the end of his show. Or another good one would end up being like Drive or Ghost even. But it's like
or X8.
But it's just like sometimes within the characters proper, your character's too powerful for any threat that ends up coming up after.
It's either we have to, find a way to depower them somehow.
Yeah.
Or make it so they can't interfere in any way.
Yeah, like you end up locking them.
I don't know, it's like Mortal Kombat rules where it's like, you are forbidden from interfering, rules of the Elder Gods and all that.
And then Shao Kahn does it anyway.
And then he does it anyway, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah. And the Elder Gods are like, well...
I'm tired.
I can throw around some planets.
I mean, we said he couldn't do it, but then there wouldn't be a story.
And then we have, like, other stuff to do.
Also, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, if it was Wednesday, maybe. Thursday. But, yeah, this movie's not good. And
no, it is not.
This solidified Gotchard is probably one of my least favorite writers of all time.
Am I confusing the future Geats with the movie we're about to talk about next?
Probably.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are. Because we're about to talk about Jyamato Awakening, which deals with the future Geats.
I did watch them all back to back.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They also have to blend together real fast when they're all mediocre at best.
So, Jyamato Awakening, we'll move on to that one. I think it's the best of the three.
Agreed.
It's also the blandest of the three.
Also agreed.
This movie, while I would describe it as functional.
Yeah, although it does end up raising some questions. Like, sure. Why is Baraba back?
Well, as you know, at some point, he was resurrected and his memories were restored.
Well, no, Baraba.
I know.
And you're just looking at her like, how are you... What? How are you here?
I don't know. They're just there.
But yeah, this movie has... It really is the blandest one. But it's also the one that I'm just like, oh, I can watch this.
But yeah, so Buffa...
She barely survived, apparently,
yes,
also.
so Buffa is, at work at his construction job, thinks he sees a little kid. Turns out he does. This kid turns out to be the child of a human and a Jyamato.
Yes.
And said kid is being hunted down, being tried to taken away from his parents
by another Jyamato.
By what is another Jyamato in disguise?
Yes.
Disguised as a police officer who, in the struggle to get the kid away, murders the human husband. And that causes the Jyamato wife to go on a rampage. And Geats from the future has seen that this Jyamato could potentially destroy the entire planet.
Yeah.
So Geats from the future goes back in time to try and stop her, while Geats from the present and Tycoon, Neon, and Buffa, they all band together and try and stop her.
Yeah.
Try and pacify her, more or less. Well, it turns out that it was other Jyamato she was raised with, because what's his name with the glasses and the ponytail? The guy who's been raising the Jyamato in the greenhouse. I'm freezing on his name.
Something Natch.
But either way,
Natch Sparrow. So
Sparrow has been raising these Jyamato and discovering that they have been obtaining more human traits.
Yeah.
And one of the traits that he is interested in them learning about is love. And this Jyamato, this woman, managed to find love. She met this man, fell in love with him, they got married, they had a kid, they opened a bread stand that's just soaring in popularity. We see Neon on her social media channel, just reviewing it at the beginning, which is kind of cool. And then it's basically just like those storylines like convening on each other. There's a lot of action in between. Buffa mainly is dealing with the kid, helping him out and like talking to him about his own rage that he dealt with in the past. And at the end, he gets a new form. He gets a super
Plosion Rage.
Yeah, he gets Plosion Rage.
His actual upgrade that he never got in show.
Yeah. This one has 5 chainsaws for fingers on a giant glove.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Anything that touches.
No, R.I.P. What is Cronus? His final form from X8, because that's his shield.
Oh.
They repurposed it.
I mean, use what you got.
I know, it's just funny that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what that one's from.
But yeah, so that's the story, and
they stopped the evil Jyamato god from awakening.
There's like an evil Jyamato trying to do it. Michi eventually kills him, but the mother dies in the process, and then the kid is like, I will destroy everything because I'm so angry. And then he goes and gives the kid a hug, and he's like, no, don't be angry. And the kid's like, okay. And then the movie ends. Geats tells his future self, see? It can be okay.
And then he basically gets wiped out because that timeline didn't exist in the way that it did anymore.
Yeah, and then the movie ends, and I moved on with my life.
Yeah. It's the most...
It's not bad, but it's not good. There's nothing about it that really stands out as being particularly good.
It's very mediocre. So it's like you got mediocre with this, and then you have the 4 Aces and Gotchard on about the same level. And you're just sitting here like, well...
I would put 4 Aces above Gotchard.
Yeah, but, 6 feet under is better than 7 feet under, I guess.
No, you're still dead.
Yeah, but one of them, you're slightly closer to the surface. The metaphor fails.
Silver
but anyway,
lining, folks, I guess.
It's just like... all 3 of these aren't really worth your time. Watch Geats the show, and that's where you can stop.
I was going to say, watch Geats the show. The show's amazing.
You can stop there. And
It's
you
my
don't
favorite
need
Kamen Rider. That's
anything
great.
else. It's weird. It's sort of like I'm not even going to say the opposite because it sort of follows in the same vein as the 01 movies, except the 01 summer movie, which ended up being it's not summer movie. I think it was like winter. Was good. I really liked that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else after that just happened and we ignore it.
Mm-hmm. But anywho, that will do it for us.
Yes.
But do join us next time. Our
God.
our final review before we go on our winter break, and that will be Turbo Ranger.
You know, I can see where people were talking about, oh, he really fell off after Live Man. And yep, that's going to be a fun review that I'm going to bitch through. Don't forget to join us on all the things. Let us know what you think about the movies in the comments below. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.